In today's video, we will be explaining every WWE heavyweight champion in history, dishing out the backstage stories behind their rise to the top, how long they held the title, and the shocking moments that cost them the belt. This is the untold tale of every champ you've cheered and booed throughout the years. And we kick things off where it all started in 1963, when Buddy Rogers, who was crowned the very first WWE champion after winning a fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro. A storyline twist that immediately sparked conversation among fans. But the real game changer was Bruno Sammartino. His first reign lasted an astonishing 2,800 days, and the arenas erupted every time he stepped into the ring. Fans flocked to see his unmatched strength and charisma, making his long reign a major moneymaker and cultural phenomenon for the company. Yet even legends face changes. In a shocking twist that silenced the crowd at MSG, Ivan Koloff ended Bruno's epic run, only for Koloff's own reign to be so brief, lasting just under 21 days before he dropped the title to Pedro Morales. But the excitement didn't stop there. Pedro lost the belt to Stan Stasiak, who held the title for mere 9 days before Bruno reclaimed his title, becoming the very first wrestler to win the WWE Championship twice, and a legend of the sport, as the man managed to sell out arenas and shows constantly, and the fans loved him for it. Time in the ring and on top set a new standard for championship lore, and Bruno's second reign spanned 1,237 days, and it eventually came to an end when he lost it to none other than superstar Billy Graham. Billy's influence was so profound that future icons like Hulk Hogan, Triple H, and Stone Cold Steve Austin would later point to him as a major inspiration. And notably, a key story was Dusty Rhodes' inability to overcome Billy became a key storyline that still echoes in Cody Rhodes' own journey to the championship. Our next champion was Bob Backlund, emerged as a dominant force, holding the title for over 2,000 days with his technical mastery and relentless determination. However, at this point, the landscape of WWE was shifting. In 1983, at a televised event, WWE on MSG Network, Iron Sheik stunned the fans by defeating Backlund by putting him in the Kamala clutch. This upset wasn't just a title change, it signaled the start of a bold new era under Vince McMahon, marked by innovating storyline, blockbuster pay-per-views, and a fresh focus on superstars who could captivate audiences like never before. This seismic change set the stage for the arrival of a true American icon.
The incredible Hulk Hogan, over 320 pounds, the biceps 24 inches and counting, and this is an incredible individual indeed who makes his wrestling debut in Madison Square Garden.
On January 23, 1984, at a major televised event, Hulk Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik to capture the WWE Championship, launching the golden era of WWE. And Hogan's triumph over the Iron Sheik represented a victory for American audiences still grappling with the lingering tension from the Iranian hostage crisis. The fans craved for a patriotic hero who could vanquish the menacing foreign villain, turning Hogan's championship win into a moment of national pride. And Hogan's first reign lasted an incredible 1,474 days. It was marked by electrifying charisma and memorable feuds that helped propel WWE into mainstream popularity, with him even main eventing the first ever WrestleMania alongside Mr. T to take on Rowdy Piper. His trademark catchphrases captured the hearts of millions and transformed professional wrestling into a cultural phenomenon. To put it simply, he embodied the larger-than-life American hero, echoing the decades of patriotic fever and energizing an increasingly young audience. Sporting his iconic Hulkamania persona, he delivered bombastic promos that captured the era's appetite for a spectacle and action. But on February 5th, 1998, the title took an unexpected twist when Andre the Giant captured it in a controversial fashion.
Belt, I believe in his hands. Hulkster's looking down at him. He can't believe it. He's saying it was only 2. He can't be giving the title to Andre. He can't be.
Although his reign only lasted less than a day, the circumstances were unforgettable. But due to a convoluted situation involving a shady transaction with Ted DiBiase, Andre's title win was quickly nullified, making his time as champion more of an anomaly in the record books rather than a sustained era of dominance. But not long after that, the momentum quickly shifted at WrestleMania 4 on March 27, 1998, when Randy Savage stepped into the spotlight. So in a high-stakes tournament final against Ted DiBiase, Savage secured the title, proving proving that he could shine independently of Hulk Hogan's massive shadow, embarking on a 371-day reign. It seemed as though Vince McMahon was finally giving Savage a chance as he wanted to break away from Hulkamania. So with Miss Elizabeth by his side, Savage cultivated a distinct flair, vibrant costumes, and insane promos that captivated fans of all ages. Alongside the mega power storylines, saw him form an alliance with Hogan, merging the two titanic forces. And though they became eventual rivals, fueled by jealousy and dramatic tension, it became must-see television and propelled Savage into superstardom.
Ain't no pukesters helping me to the right. Didn't need 'em then, don't need 'em now. And another person I don't need is Elizabeth either, yeah. 'Cause I'm the champion by myself, all by myself. You don't know.
And Randy's time as champion remains etched into wrestling history, but Hogan's influence was undeniable, and he would reclaim his position and title on April 2nd, 1989 at WrestleMania 5. This was his second reign as champion, which went on for about a year. But it must be said, by 1989, Vince McMahon felt Hulkamania risked becoming stale and wanted to ensure the WWF stayed fresh with new stars. Hogan had dominated the spotlight for years, and his budding Hollywood interest meant that he was less available. Meanwhile, fans' appetites were shifting towards fresh personas like Randy Savage and later the Ultimate Warrior, who brought new energy and storylines. Vince believed diversifying the main event scene would keep the product exciting, preventing over-reliance on one star, and appealing to a broader audience. So eventually, the Ultimate Warrior burst into the scenes with an energy and intensity that was completely unique. Known for his wild face paint and appearance and high-octane in-ring style, it meant that fans finally had someone else to cheer for. So when both Hogan and Warrior, as beloved favorites, were each carrying top titles, tension brewed after the Royal Rumble confrontation. However, in one of the most memorable nights in WWE history, WrestleMania 6 on April 1st, 1990, everything changed yet again. In a groundbreaking title versus title match, the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hogan to claim the WWE Championship, and his reign lasted an epic 293 days. Now, while he was a fan favorite at the time, most pro wrestling fans who grew up watching the product will tell you that there wasn't anything memorable about the Warrior's title reign. That being said, every hero needs a good villain, and our story picks up with Sergeant Slaughter, who captured the championship on January 19th, 1991, during the time when patriotic fever was sky high. It was one of those moments where real things going around the world didn't have its place in the WWE, and putting the title on him was mainly just to garner heat because of the Gulf War. And Sergeant Slaughter's reign was only 64 days, ending on March 24th, 1991, was a bridge between the old guard and the new direction, because Hulk Hogan reclaimed the title once more, enjoying another lengthy reign until November 27th, 1991, when another rising star would emerge from Death Valley itself to reign on WWE's parade. So one of the greatest to ever do it, The Undertaker, would win his first world title at 1991 Survivor Series, only to drop it back to Hulk Hogan 6 days later. It's worth mentioning, Taker believed that he was being punished by having him lose the title so soon because he delivered a stiff tombstone piledriver to Hogan at the time. And this grudge would go on for years, as Hogan claimed to management that he was worried about The Undertaker being an unsafe worker within the ring. And The Undertaker believed Hogan's backstage politics soured distrust and greatly hurt his early momentum within the company. Though their in-ring feud did take a pivotal moment when Hogan held the title just for one day. After the controversial finish to Hogan vs Undertaker at Survivor Series, a rematch was almost immediately made at Tuesday in Texas. And in typical WWE style, this match ended in just as much controversy, as Hogan used a handful of ashes from the Undertaker's urn to blind his opponent, helping him get the pin and his title back for the 4th time. And this title reign was also a short one, because President Jack Tunney vacated the WWE Championship after the controversial ending of the last 2 matches. As a result, the title was placed up for grabs at January's Royal Rumble. So as 1992 dawned, Ric Flair entered the picture. The Royal Rumble was his chance to put his money where his mouth was, as he had to outlast 30 other men to become the undisputed WWE Champion, and that's exactly what he did. Because things did not look good for him in the beginning, as he drew number 3, but he fought for more than an hour and cut the most iconic promo afterwards that fans still remember to this day. The Nature Boy's reign lasted 77 days, but in it, he showcased a technical masteries and in-ring intelligence, qualities that Vince was increasingly valuing in a post-scandal landscape. Because in the early 90s, WWE faced damaging steroid allegations, tarnishing its image. The media attention and public backlash meant they had to step away from the muscle-bound image. So in response, McMahon sought to spotlight more agile, technically gifted talent rather than purely physical-focused super heavyweights. As a result, wrestlers who emphasized in-ring skills like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels came to symbolize the new generation, steering WWE through the challenging post-scandal period. And because of this, the Nature Boy only held the title for a couple of months before losing it to Randy Savage at WrestleMania 8. And then while Rick did go on to reclaim the title the same year, a key thing to note here is while Flair was known for his 16-time world championships, he only held the WWE title twice in his career. So on September 1st, 1992, Ric Flair's 41-day reign was a brief interlude before another rising star would take center stage. And for Bret, that moment came on October 12th, 1992, as Hart challenged Ric Flair for the WWE Championship at a non-televised live event and won, bringing forward the new generation era. For fans, Bret's technical brilliance and match quality re-energized the company and resonated with them as they were hungry for something authentic. However, Hart faced probably his biggest opponent yet as his momentum continued into WrestleMania 9. And this mania has now become infamous for overshadowing both Bret Hart and Yokozuna, as Bret, whose in-ring skill fueled a fresh direction, lost his title to Yokozuna in a surprising finish. Moments later, Hulk Hogan returned from a semi-retirement, defeated Yokozuna in an impromptu match. Abruptly snatching the spotlight, critics and insiders saw that this was Hogan using his backstage influence to remain at top, stalling Bret's momentum. The controversy highlighted tensions between the emerging new generation stars and the old guard that was still wielding power. So after Hulk Hogan dropped the title to Yokozuna and then Bret won it off Yokozuna, amidst these dramatic shifts, the booking decisions sometimes left fans scratching their heads. The decision to have Bob Backlund defeat Bret Hart in a transitional title change remains a puzzling story decision that has fans still wondering about it. But shortly after, Diesel, later known as Kevin Nash, rose to prominence with his own polarizing title reign. Despite mixed reactions from critics, Diesel's run created lifelong fans. But the Hitman wasn't out the race yet, as Bret Hart reinserted his dominance by winning his third WWE Championship at 1995 Survivor Series after defeating Diesel, a moment that solidified his legacy as one of the greatest technical wrestlers of his generation. Yet the landscape was far from settled, as there was a new kid on the block, a Heartbreak Kid.
One epic battle will define each other's destiny.
In a grueling 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania 7, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels clinched his first WWE title in an epic showdown against Bret Hart. And the boy that loved to dream finally did it. This match just wasn't a contest for a championship, it was a battle for pride that had the fans on the edge of their seats, setting off a rivalry that would define an era. And his first reign came to an end when he dropped the title to his then bodyguard Psycho Sid Vicious. But Shawn's journey continued with a dramatic title win at 1997's Royal Rumble, only to later forfeit the championship due to a knee injury, a move that some believed was designed to protect his legacy from a potential loss to Bret at WrestleMania 13. That same year, Bret won the vacant title in a fatal four-way, only to lose it shortly after Psycho Sid, adding yet another twist to the already volatile title scene. And the intrigue peaked at WrestleMania 13, where the ominous presence of The Undertaker, the so-called dead man, became undeniable. By early 1997, The Undertaker had evolved from a brooding newcomer into a cornerstone of WWE's increasingly edgy product. Over the years, he redefined his supernatural persona, raising from the caskets, controlling the arena lights, and showcasing a almost mythical resilience. But behind the scenes, Vince McMahon recognized The Undertaker's staying power, relying on him to anchor key storylines. So heading into WrestleMania 13, The Undertaker defeated Sid to capture his second WWE Championship. But then came SummerSlam 1997, where controversy reigned supreme. In a match featuring Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee, Michaels stunned the crowd by striking The Undertaker with a steel chair, allowing his long-term rival Bret Hart to capitalize and win the title. This shocking finish is still celebrated as one of the most memorable moments in WWE history, but no discussion of this era would be complete without mentioning the infamous Montreal Screwjob at 1997 Survivor Series. In this jaw-dropping moment, Shawn Michaels took the title from Bret Hart in a way that changed wrestling forever.
While you talk about controversy, this crowd is living.
This betrayal left Bret furious and humiliated, especially since it happened in his home country of Canada. And as the night went on, Bret Hart confronted Vince McMahon backstage, famously punching him in the eye. And in the fallout, Bret departed WWE for its rival WCW. Meanwhile, the incident revealed Vince McMahon's ruthless on-screen persona as Mr. McMahon, setting the stage for the Attitude Era's edgy storytelling and launching WWE towards mainstream success. So Shawn Michaels will hold onto the title for 140 days, but his time at the top was ending soon, as there was no one better than Stone Cold Steve Austin to embody the raw spirit of the Attitude Era. In the main event of WrestleMania 14 that had it all, Steve captured his first WWE Championship from Shawn Michaels, launching a reign that would ultimately last 91 days and set the standard for a defiant rebellion. But the chaos was just beginning, because at the King of the Ring event, the intimidating Big Red Machine, none other than Kane, stole the title from Steve in a stunning upset, holding it for a mere 1 day before Stone Cold reclaimed his throne on Raw the very next night. Despite this setback, it would be many years before Kane, another monster of the era, would rise to the top again. But in a wild twist, at Breakdown in Your House, a triple threat match ended with both The Undertaker and Kane pinning Steve simultaneously, forcing the title to be vacant in a moment of absolute pandemonium.
Oh, yes. Here, 10 seconds. Double choke slam. Taker, Kane. That's gotta be. They got it. Who's the champion? Who is the champion?
And to be honest, finishes like this will become a norm during this time in wrestling. Meanwhile, the charismatic one, The Rock, made his explosive debut into the championship scene. Hated as a babyface but loved as the heel, the Brahma Bull was making waves in WWF. And at the 1998 Survivor Series, in a finish reminiscent to the notorious Montreal Screwjob, The Rock clinched his first WWE Championship by defeating Mankind. But behind the scenes, the Mankind storyline began as a tormented outcast, obsessed with pain and seeking acceptance. Initially feuding with The Undertaker, he was later manipulated by Vince McMahon, who pretended to support him as the corporate champion. However, at 1998 Survivor Series, Vince and The Rock betrayed Mankind. This treachery turned him face, inspiring fans to rally behind his underdog journey and heart. So despite his unsettling persona, Mankind's vulnerability and genuine spirit truly resonated with viewers seeking something different from the polished superstar. So on an episode of Raw, Mankind defeated The Rock in a show-stopping match that had the entire arena on its feet. But their back and forth drama continued when The Rock won the title back a few weeks later, only for Mankind to recapture it at the inaugural Halftime Heat event, though his second reign was as fleeting as his first, with The Rock regaining the gold once more on Raw. So in less than 130 days, the title changed 5 times between these men, ending their series of matches. So after WWE had been done trading the belt between The Rock and Mankind, Stone Cold Steve Austin's return felt like a jolt of rebellious energy the WWE audience had been craving. And Austin had already become a fan favorite with his anti-authority persona and fearless attitude, famously clashing with Vince McMahon's corporate agenda. So once he came back, the stage was set for a classic clash of icons at WrestleMania 15. The Rock's arrogance as the corporate champion directly contrasted Austin's blue-collar grit, and the fans rallied behind Stone Cold as he toppled The Rock to reclaim the championship, starting a WrestleMania rivalry for the ages. But WWE was still playing hot potato with the title, and his reign only lasted 56 days, and that's because The Undertaker re-entered the title picture. Already a 2-time champion, The Undertaker stormed into Kansas City on May 23rd, 1999, hungry for another title. And in a shocking twist, The Undertaker pinned Austin, ending his reign. And like many things in the Attitude Era, this win came amidst controversy as the special guest referee Shane McMahon delivered a lightning fast 3 count to seal the deal. As for Undertaker, his reign was brief as well, only lasting around about a month, as the main focus was the ongoing power struggle between Stone Cold Steve Austin and the McMahon family. And because of this, fan support for Austin demanded a quick title reverse, so he regained the championship on Raw shortly after. But during this time, the battle between them was amazing to see because at the fully loaded pay-per-view event, Stone Cold clashed with The Undertaker in a brutal first blood match, only to lose the title to Mankind in a chaotic triple threat at SummerSlam, a match that also featured Triple H. But we weren't done with surprises. In a twist that left the WWE universe buzzing, Mankind's run was cut short when he lost the title on Raw the very next night to none other than Triple H, marking the start of the game's first WWE Championship reign. But just then came one of the era's most jaw-dropping moments. Triple H's reign was unexpectedly ended by his future father-in-law Vince McMahon, in a controversial twist on an episode of SmackDown when Stone Cold, of all people, helped deliver a stunner to the champ to allow Vince the win. So Vince captured the title only to vacate it shortly after, as it's stipulated by the conditions of The Undertaker's first blood match against Steve Austin. But not to be outdone, Triple H reinserted his dominance by winning the championship back at 1999's Unforgiven pay-per-view in a 6-pack challenge which included a stacked roster of The Rock, the British Bulldog, Big Show, Mankind and Kane. And the chaos didn't end there, as it escalated at Survivor Series of 1999, where Triple H was set to defend his championship in a triple threat match against Stone Cold and The Rock. But to top it off, in a scene that perfectly captured the wild unpredictability of this era, Stone Cold was dramatically ran over by a car during the bout, forcing a reshuffle in the title picture, and we all remember how the storyline ended.
I did it for The Rock.
I did it for The Rock. Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
But with Stone Cold out of action, Triple H seized the chance to become the era's top villain. Calling himself The Game, he formed an alliance with Stephanie McMahon and dominated WWE under the McMahon-Helmsley reign. And after claiming the championship back from the Big Show in 2000, Triple H engaged in brutal feuds that showcased his ruthless side. Though his use of underhanded tactics, intense promos and alliance with the McMahons, Triple H positioned himself as the company's premier heel, driving storylines and elevating the Attitude Era. This power move not only made him Vince McMahon's son-in-law, but it also positioned him as the company's top villain. The faction, which included DX members and a corporate alliance, ruled WWE with an iron fist, using their authority to manipulate title matches and maintain control over the roster. But this reign of dominance made sense because at the time WWE was shifting in a post-Stone Cold era, as Stone Cold was out with a neck injury. With one of their biggest draws sidelined, it made sense that WWE had a new compelling antagonist to drive the main event scene. And their rule peaked in early 2000s with Triple H's classic feud against Mick Foley in a violent of matches at Royal Rumble and No Way Out. The regime's stranglehold on the WWE continued into WrestleMania 2000, where Triple H became the first ever heel to retain the championship in the main event, further solidifying his reign as WWE's ultimate authority figure. But at Backlash, The Rock captured the title against all odds, only to hold it for 20 days, because he would go on to lose it back to Triple H in a riveting Iron Man match at Judgment Day, before eventually reclaiming the championship once again. So safe to say these two held the main event scene for quite a bit in the absence of Stone Cold, and did an amazing job. But as the title picture evolved, The Rock found himself in an epic showdown with the precision of Kurt Angle. And the feud between The Rock and Kurt Angle began in late 2000s, when Angle was fresh off his debut year within WWE. Sought to prove that he was just more than an Olympic gold medalist, he was a force to be reckoned with. So as Angle came in with a cocky, patriotic persona, it clashed with the charismatic fan favorite The Rock, creating a rivalry that sparked intense drama and sticking true to that era's theme.
Because I'm gonna do something that no other WWF superstar has been able to do for the past 4 years.
Brad coming alive for The Rock.
And that is, I'm gonna shut your big fat mouth up once and for all. And that, my friends, is true.
This story started when Kurt Angle defeated The Rock at No Mercy in 2000 to win his first WWE Championship. The victory was a shock to many, as The Rock was one of the company's top stars. This loss to Angle immediately set the stage for a heated and personal rivalry, and the premise of it was simple. Angle was bragging about his Olympic excellence and superiority over The Rock's Hollywood-like persona created friction, as The Rock, who has a larger-than-life character, relied on confidence and charisma, saw Angle as a serious threat to his place at the top of the card. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. One of the funniest segments in their feud came when The Rock mocked Angle's Olympic background, often ridiculing his intensity and signature phrases. A standout moment occurred when The Rock hilariously imitated Angle's patriotic promos, sarcastically praising his 3 eyes.
This Sunday night, he has his work cut out for him. The Rock knows he's got 5 other guys he's got to compete with. And even if The Rock has got to beat Kurt Angle, which means I'm gonna drink a big glass of milk.
It's safe to say the fans loved these comedic exchanges, as they highlighted the stark contrast between Angle's nerdy, overconfident persona and The Rock's effortless coolness, making their feud both entertaining and intense. So their feud intensified over the following weeks, culminating in several iconic matches. At Armageddon 2000, they participated in a 6-man Hell in a Cell match alongside The Undertaker, Triple H, Steve Austin, and Rikishi. And this brutal bout showcased their physicality and storytelling, with The Rock and Angle taking each other to their limits. Their rivalry continued until No Way Out 2001, where The Rock finally regained the WWE Championship from Angle, setting up an epic clash with his greatest rival Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17. And within the main event of WrestleMania, we saw something the fans thought that would never happen within a million years. Within WWE. The idea of Stone Cold shaking Vince's hand after winning the title is unimaginable, considering their past, though it seemed like the company had a bigger idea in mind for him when he went on this new run as champion, because in a surprising twist, Stone Cold later formed a tag team known as the 2-Man Power Trip with Triple H himself. It was a brief yet explosive alliance that culminated in an unforgettable match against Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. But in terms of the title scene, it was Kurt Angle once again who captured the championship at Unforgiven, only for Stone Cold to reclaim it in a stunning turnaround in less than 15 days. And if all of this chaos wasn't enough, WWE's acquisition of WCW brought in even more intrigue into the mix. So at that year's Vengeance pay-per-view, Chris Jericho pulled off an unprecedented feat by defeating both The Rock and Stone Cold in back-to-back matches to become the undisputed WWE champion.
McMahon's help, with the help of Booker T. Bottom line is, you might not like how it went down, but Y2J is the first undisputed champion. Look at the
But as everybody knows, Jericho was just a simple placeholder until the game made his triumphant return from injury at WrestleMania 18, defeating Jericho in the main event, only to lose the title a month later to everyone's favorite politician, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. His reign in 2002 was brief but unforgettable. Fans today would have torn him apart if such a win occurred now, so perhaps it was best that his run was so short-lived. It ended when The Undertaker defeated him at Judgment Day to claim his 4th WWE title.
toe slam, the chair shot to the back of the head, the toe slam by The Undertaker, and The Undertaker beats Hogan.
And just as a quick reminder, during this stint, The Undertaker reinvented himself as the American Badass persona with a kick-ass theme song. This reinvention allowed him to showcase more of his personality, speak naturally in promos, and evolve his in-ring style. He even engaged in a wild ladder match against Jeff Hardy on Raw that made him a fan favorite. But finally, the Great One made a triumphant return from Hollywood and filming by winning a triple threat match against The Undertaker and Kurt Angle to capture his 7th WWE Championship. And it was a clear signal that the era of Stone Cold and The Rock was drawing to a close. And this would bring a close to the hot potato era of WWE, where the title would flip from wrestler to wrestler as WWE navigated its way through the Monday Night Wars with WCW. So as WWE was now ushering a new era called the Ruthless Aggression, who better to lead the charge than a fresh and upcoming beast incarnate himself, ready to dethrone the legendary Brahma Bull and redefine the future of sports entertainment.
Look at this! He paid absolutely no attention to The Rock!
So Brock Lesnar exploded onto WWE's stage in March 2002 and shocked the world by capturing the WWE Championship in August of 2002, one of the fastest title wins for a debuting wrestler. And during his first reign lasting roughly 84 days, Lesnar battled fierce opponents like The Undertaker and Big Show, and at Survivor Series 2002, in a jaw-dropping twist fueled by Paul Heyman's betrayal, the Big Show ended Lesnar's reign, igniting a chain reaction of high-stakes rivalries. Because from there, Kurt Angle won the title from Big Show, which meant only one thing, as Lesnar's path led him to a heated feud with Kurt Angle, one of his fiercest adversaries. And it began in early 2003 when WWE pitted these two elite athletes against each other, Lesnar, the freakishly powerful rookie, and Angle, the Olympic gold medalist with an unmatched technical skill, as their rivalry built towards a blockbuster clash at WrestleMania 19, where Lesnar won his second WWE Championship. The match became legendary not only for its intensity, but also for Lesnar's botched shooting star press, a high-risk move that nearly injured him. But despite that, Lesnar recovered to finish the match, win the title, and earn Angle's respect. Their feud blended pure wrestling excellence with personal stakes, making it one of WWE's most iconic rivalries during that time period. However, after 118 days as champion, Brock Lesnar would lose it back to Kurt Angle at Vengeance 2003 after a hard-fought contest. But undeterred, Brock Lesnar won the title back in a grueling Iron Man match on an episode of SmackDown, proving his resilience. And as his intensity built, Lesnar set his sights on a new rival, and that would be WCW legend Goldberg. In the build-up to WrestleMania 20, their rivalry reached fever pitch when Goldberg interfered in Lesnar's match against fan favorite Eddie Guerrero, costing Lesnar the title. Eddie Guerrero's WWE Championship win in 2004 was a deeply emotional moment. He had overcome personal demons, defied expectations, and captured the hearts of the fans. His victory over Brock Lesnar at No Way Out was seen as a triumph for underdogs everywhere. However, being the top guy came with massive pressure. Eddie reportedly struggled with the weight of carrying the company, both creatively and mentally. So WWE also wanted to transition the spotlight to a newer star like JBL, leading to Eddie dropping the title just 4 months later at the Great American Bash pay-per-view. And as for JBL, not known for his in-ring acrobatics, he held the title for nearly 280 days, captivating fans with his unapologetic heel persona, before the mantle eventually passed to none other than John Cena, arguably the biggest star of the ruthless aggression era and the 21st century. Cena, famously dubbed Mr. Hustle, Loyalty and Respect, captured his first WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21, immediately signaling that Vince McMahon had chosen his next franchise face. And despite early criticism favoring the likes of Randy Orton or Batista, Cena's dynamic in-ring style and relentless work effort quickly silenced the doubters. And to be honest, it was fair, as his journey to the top of the card itself was quite lucky, because when John Cena debuted in 2002 during the Ruthless Aggression era, answering Kurt Angle's open challenge, his generic babyface persona, clean cut, plain tights, and a lack of character depth quickly failed to connect with fans, as Cena was in danger of becoming just another forgettable rookie. Because even backstage, WWE was considering releasing him, but that changed on a European tour when Cena began freestyling on a bus, catching the attention of key decision makers including Stephanie McMahon. And seeing the potential, WWE gave him a new gimmick of a street smart rapper, donning a throwback jersey, chain, and a cocky attitude. Cena began rapping during promos, dissing his opponents with clever punchlines. His charisma skyrocketed, and the fans began to cheer the edgy, unapologetic Doctor of Thugonomics.
I'm way better than Dead Man. You just another sucker. You think he's beating John Cena? You's a stupid mother.
This transformation turned Cena into a fan favorite, especially among younger viewers. But after winning the title from JBL, he would eventually drop it 279 days later to the ultimate opportunist Edge, as he made history by winning the inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match, as he cashed in his contract at the New Year's Revolution pay-per-view to become the champion for just less than 20 days, only to see his reign cut short when Cena reclaimed the title at the 2006 Royal Rumble. But the drama continued to escalate, because after a heated feud with Triple H, Cena lost the championship to RVD at ECW One Night Stand, thanks to a little interference from Edge during a night that hosted one of the wildest crowds in pro wrestling history.
What the
So while RVD's reign might have lasted longer under different circumstances, his title reign ended abruptly due to an off-screen controversy. Because just weeks after winning the title, RVD and Sabu were pulled over and found with marijuana and pills without a valid prescription. This incident violated WWE's wellness policy, leading to RVD being suspended and stripped of both WWE and ECW championship within days. And rightfully so, the fans were disappointed, as RVD had been a crowd favorite and a symbol of ECW's revival. But Edge later won the vacated title back on an episode of Raw after a series of electrifying matches that firmly established him and Cena as bitter rivals, because Edge would lose it to Cena in a thrilling TLC match at Unforgiven. And it was during this time that Edge embraced his heel role, mocking Cena's clean-cut image and even targeting his family. While Cena fought back as a resilient hero, their feud became a clash of opposites: Edge's cunningness versus Cena's grit. And their feud not only elevated Edge to a main event status, but it solidified Cena as the face of WWE, proving that he can thrive in a violent, emotionally charged rivalry. But in terms of the title scene, John Cena's third WWE Championship reign kicked off a dominant 380-day run, silencing critics with thrilling matches against the likes of Umaga, Shawn Michaels, Bobby Lashley, and Randy Orton. As this is known as John Cena's Superman phase, he was mocked with chants like "You can't wrestle," but Cena proved that he could hang with the best. But just then, just as his reign peaked, fate struck. Cena tore his pectoral muscle during a heated feud with Orton, forcing him to vacate the title. So, at No Mercy 2007, chaos unfolded. Vince McMahon handed Orton the vacant title, only for Triple H to beat him immediately after, and later on the night, Orton would win it back in a brutal last man standing match, which meant 2 title changes in one wild night. And Randy Orton's journey continued with a fierce rivalry against Shawn Michaels and Jeff Hardy. So, by 2008, the main event scene was not decided yet, as there was no clear decision upon what the main event of WrestleMania would be, but a triumphant Cena returned at the number 30 position in a moment that shocked all fans. And John Cena's 2008 Royal Rumble win will be setting the stage for a showdown with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 24 in a high-stakes triple threat match involving Triple H himself. But somehow, during the main event of WrestleMania, Orton retained his title that night, but the drama didn't end there. At Backlash, Triple H emerged victorious in a fatal 4-way match which also featured Cena and JBL, beginning his 7th title reign that lasted more than 200 days. All while WWE steadily shifted towards a more family-friendly programming model to reach a younger audience. As WWE transitioned into the PG era, Vince McMahon wanted to attract sponsors and secure mainstream deals. And while this move boosted profits and polished WWE's public image, it came at a cost. The edge, the unpredictability, the grit of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era began to fade, as blood, profanity, and more intense storylines were replaced with safer, more sanitized programming. But having said that, even during this corporate shift, stars like Triple H and rising fan favorite Jeff Hardy kept fans invested, because Jeff's journey was particularly emotional. After multiple near misses, he finally won the WWE Championship at Armageddon 2008, triggering one of the loudest crowd reactions of the decade. It's hard to say, but his reign was short, and at 2009's Royal Rumble, after holding the title for 41 days, his own brother Matt Hardy cost him the title to a returning Edge. And to be fair, Edge's run was also brief, around 20 days, and it was ended by Triple H capturing his 8th WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, a match that lasted just long enough to leave fans hungry for more storytelling. As the product began to feel too repetitive, fans who had once thrived on the chaos of the unpredictability of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era started to lose interest. The edginess was gone, villains no longer pushed the envelope, promos felt overscripted, and many of the top stars rotated through a recycled feud. And with the blood, violence, and mature themes off limits due to the PG rating, the storytelling leaned heavily on safe booking. Many believe the main event became predictable and the characters often felt watered down. Even WrestleMania, once the pinnacle of must-see drama, struggled to deliver the shock value, as Triple H versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 25 2005, a bout that many regard one of the weakest main events in history, failed to deliver on expectation. At Backlash, Randy managed to capture the championship in a surprising upset, and not long after, the main event scene took another turn as Batista, a former member of Evolution, defeated Orton in a steel cage match to win the WWE title, a moment that shocked long-term fans. But just when we got something good, the Animal vacated the title due to a torn bicep, which meant that Randy Orton reclaimed it, fueling an intense feud with, you guessed it, John Cena. And in a series of high-stakes encounters, Cena and Orton traded the gold. Cena emerged victorious at Breaking Point, holding it for 20 days, while Orton regained it at Hell in a Cell, also holding it for 20 days. And the saga reached its climax when Cena wrapped up their rivalry in a gripping Iron Man match, marking his 7th reign. But the twists weren't done there. In a shocking upset, Sheamus defeated John Cena in a tables match at TLC to capture his first WWE Championship, only for John Cena to win it at Elimination Chamber to win his 8th world title. And this is one of those pay-per-views that all fans would remember, because on the night it wasn't over. Moments after John Cena won a brutal Elimination Chamber match, Mr. McMahon emerged to force the superstar to immediately defend his title against Dave Batista, who subsequently became the new WWE Champion. And it was perfectly told on the night, as Vince McMahon orchestrated this shocking twist to further the storyline of corruption, power and favoritism, positioning himself as the puppet master behind the scene. Because at the time, McMahon was pushing Batista as his new corporate enforcer, similar to how he had once backed The Rock and Randy Orton in the past.
Just as long as you can defend your championship right now against this man.
But this is Super Cena we're talking about, and there was no challenge big enough that Cena couldn't take down. And at WrestleMania 26, he defeated Batista to begin his 9th title reign, lasting 83 days. But he met his match thanks to a fresh-faced Nexus Force. And because of it, Sheamus was able to capture the title in a fatal 4-way, although it seemed more like they just wanted to take the title away from Cena just so he can help build up a new faction. Because while Sheamus held the title, his reign often felt overshadowed by the larger storyline involving the Nexus and Cena. And though he was booked as a dominant heel, many fans saw him as a transitional champion, more of a plot device than a centerpiece. His matches were solid, but the focus remained on whether Cena would retaliate against the Nexus or fall in line. But ultimately, Sheamus' title run helped establish him as a credible main event player, but his reign lacked a defining rivalry or emotional moment that other top champions had. It wasn't long before Randy Orton defeated him at Night of Champions to begin his 6th reign as champion. But the storyline picks up with The Miz, who cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, enjoyed his own run. Despite the title reign that many would criticize, he did have some highlights when he clashed with Cena in the main event of WrestleMania 27. And shockingly, to everyone's surprise, The Miz managed an upset by defeating Cena at WrestleMania, thanks to the little help from The Rock.
The Rock bottom! The Rock bottom on John Cena!
But Cena rebounded to win his 10th WWE Championship at Extreme Rules in a triple threat match, which also featured John Morris. And so, as the dust settled, WWE shifted its focus once again. With months still remaining in Cena's program with The Rock, an unexpected spark ignited in the form of CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo, a moment so explosive it redefined storytelling in WWE and heralded a new era of fresh talent ready to take the reins.
I'm not on Conan O'Brien, I'm not on Jimmy Fallon, but the fact of the matter is I should be, and trust me, this isn't sour grapes, but the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania next year and I'm not makes me sick.
This moment was just a game changer for WWE, ushering fresh faces and unpredictable storylines that revitalized the main event scene. Fans were growing wary of seeing Cena and Randy Orton hold the title for extended periods, but then came along CM Punk, the revolutionary force who changed everything. And at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, Cena and Punk clashed in what is widely regarded as one of the greatest title matches in WWE history. The unpredictability of this encounter was off the charts, and watching CM Punk walk out the arena with the WWE Championship became an iconic moment that still resonates with fans today. However, the summer of Punk was fleeting, so for storyline purposes, Punk vacated the title, only for Rey Mysterio to pin The Miz to attain the title for the very first time in his career. But just then, WWE's COO Triple H decreed a wild move, that the new title holder Rey Mysterio defend his prize on the same night he had just won it, which which meant that Cena began his 11th title reign under controversial circumstances. But shortly after, Del Rio cashed in his own Money in the Bank contract to capture his first WWE title, setting off a chain reaction of dramatic title changes, after which Cena reclaimed the championship at Night of Champions and Alberto won it back in Hell in a Cell. But it was CM Punk who truly left his mark, as Punk returned unexpectedly, claiming he was the real champion. So at Survivor Series, Punk defeated Alberto to begin his historic 434-day reign, engaging in memorable feuds with John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Ryback, and Chris Jericho. And despite the brilliance of his storytelling, one downside was that Punk often found himself outside of the main event spotlight on pay-per-views in 2012. Then there's the whole Rock situation. As WrestleMania was nearing, WWE needed to ramp things up.
Until I showed up. I have become the most successful WWE champion of all time. Not of the modern era. No, that's another little buzzword that somebody backstage wants you to say. They probably want to put it on a t-shirt. Congratulations, Rock. You just graduated from the kiddie table, but you just bit off more than you can chew. You're playing Little League with your little insults and your rhymes and your millions and millions and your finallys, and I'm in the big leagues. And I'm swinging for the fence.
Okay, to break this down, the narrative took another twist when announced a full year in advance that Cena and The Rock would clash at WrestleMania 28, as it was hyped as a generational showdown, past versus present, pride versus legacy. The build-up was deeply personal, filled with shoot-shot style promos, real-life tension, and sharp insults. As Cena claimed The Rock had abandoned WWE, while The Rock mocked Cena's image and catchphrases, ignited a heated year-long rivalry, and with both men blurring the lines between reality and fiction, making their feud feel incredibly real. But in a shocking twist, after Cena suffered a loss to The Rock at WrestleMania 28, he started questioning his place within the WWE, which takes us back to the title scene. As The Rock defeated Punk to end his reign, it was setting up for an epic clash at WrestleMania 29 between Cena and The Rock, which meant once in a lifetime had now become twice in a lifetime. And at the event, Cena reclaimed not only his dignity but also his championship at WrestleMania 29, cementing his legacy. So while the main event scene was firmly established, another superstar began igniting the crowd in the form of Daniel Bryan. His meteoric rise was marked by a clean victory over Cena at SummerSlam, a moment that ignited a movement among fans. And although Bryan's initial title reign was brief, ended when Randy Orton cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and aligned himself with the Authority, Bryan fought back as he would regain the title at Night of Champions, only to be stripped of it after Triple H claimed that the referee count had been too fast. So, in a subsequent clash at Hell in a Cell, Orton defeated Bryan and later unified the world titles in a thrilling TLC match against John Cena, forming the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But the saga of Daniel Bryan reached its zenith at WrestleMania 30, one of the most electrifying moments in WWE history. In a triple threat match against Randy Orton and Dave Bautista, Bryan emerged victorious in front of a roaring crowd that were all behind him. And while Bryan did regain his title, it was later cut short due to a neck injury, and it paved the way for Cena to win his 12th WWE Championship in an 8-man ladder match. But it was round about this time that the era of the Shield came, a trio that exploded into the scene late 2012 and redefined what a dominant faction could look like in modern WWE. Composed of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, the Shield debuted at Survivor Series, attacking top stars like John Cena and Ryback, branding themselves the Hounds of Justice. And what made them so popular was their unique blend of athleticism, attitude, and storytelling, as each member brought something different towards the table. As Rollins was the high flyer and architect, Dean Ambrose was the unhinged wildcard, and Roman Reigns was the powerhouse enforcer. So during this time, fans respected their work ethic, intense promos, and unforgettable matches against teams like Evolution and the Wyatt family. The Shield didn't just dominate the tag team division, they elevated it. So while they were being built up by WWE, they also needed to create a beast for them to slay. In a ruthless display of dominance, Brock Lesnar followed up his WrestleMania victory over The Undertaker by soundly defeating John Cena to capture the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, and went on a lengthy 223-day run in one of the most dominant ways possible.
John Cena.
Brock Lesnar delivered 16 suplexes to John Cena. And the only reason why John Cena survived the beating at SummerSlam is because Brock Lesnar unfortunately took pity on John Cena.
But Brock Lesnar, despite rarely defending his title during his reign, delivered a banger of a triple threat match at 2015's Royal Rumble against Seth Rollins and Cena, and it was clear among the Shield members, Roman Reigns was being groomed as the next face of the WWE, and many at the time predicted Roman would dethrone Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. But WWE pulled off one of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins ever when Seth Rollins inserted himself into the match to capture the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 31. From there, Rollins had an outstanding 2015, engaging in memorable bouts against Cena, Neville and Orton. Although he would eventually lose the title to Roman Reigns, Rollins was forced to vacate the title due to a severe knee injury where he tore his ACL and MCL and damaged his meniscus. So WWE held a tournament at Survivor Series to crown a new champion, which Roman won, marking the beginning of his ascent. But as soon as he won it, Sheamus cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to defeat Reigns and win his third WWE title. But in an impressive turnaround, Roman won the title back on an episode of Raw less than a month later as Vince McMahon rallied behind one of his new baby faces. And from there, Roman's championship reign was put to the ultimate test when he had to defend the title at the 2016 Royal Rumble match, which was ultimately won by Triple H to help build Roman up for a future WrestleMania main event. And that plan paid off when Roman defeated Paul at WrestleMania 32, technically winning the title on 3 separate occasions in under 5 months.
It's with the sledgehammer. Spear! Spear by Reigns! Cover! Hooks the leg! Reigns is the champion!
So as 2016 progressed, it became clear that WWE was evolving. John Cena was gradually stepping away, the women's division was making significant strides, and Roman Reigns was firmly established as the company's new cornerstone. Reigns' third run in this era was unforgettable, thanks in large part to the phenomenal one AJ Styles. AJ delivered on some of the best matches the company had seen this year, even pushing Roman to new heights. But at the 2016 Money in the Bank pay-per-view, a night etched in history, Seth Rollins returned and was given a title shot. And in an astonishing turn of events, all 3 members of the Shield held the WWE title that night. Seth Rollins defeated Roman cleanly to capture the championship, only for Dean Ambrose to cash in his own Money in the Bank contract, which he had won earlier in the night, and win the title. In one of the loudest pops, fans were fully behind him and the decision. Though Dean Ambrose was a fan favorite, his time as champion was brief, and at Backlash 2016, AJ Styles defeated Ambrose, setting the stage for his meteoric rise, as WWE booked Styles brilliantly in his first year, making Roman look formidable and engaging in standout matches against Cena, helping him cement his reputation as one of the greatest in-ring performers. And in early 2017, the momentum reached fever pitch when Cena and Styles collided in one of the most critically acclaimed matches ever at Royal Rumble. That bout saw Cena capture his 13th WWE title, and with 3 World Heavyweight Championship reigns under his belt, he became a 16-time world champion. However, Cena's reign was shockingly short, lasting only 14 days as Bray Wyatt captured the title inside Elimination Chamber, a rightfully deserved reign for the former wrestler.
And on this day, in this moment in time right now, this very second, I can truly say that I have the whole damn world in my hand.
At this point, Wyatt's victory was seen as an overdue, yet his reign was soon under fire when Randy Orton ended it at WrestleMania 33 in a match that left many fans disappointed. And in a blink and you'll miss it moment, Orton's own title reign was also fleeting, because soon after, he lost the championship to Jinder Mahal, often criticized as one of the worst championships in recent history. Mahal's reign, marked by clumsy matches against Shinsuke Nakamura and Orton, further tarnished SmackDown's creative direction, because his sudden push came out of nowhere. He had been previously a lower card talent used for comedic roles. Virtually overnight, he went from losing matches on Main Event to defeating Orton at Backlash to become the WWE champion. Many believe that his title win was purely a business move, as WWE wanted to expand into India, and Jinder, being of Indian descent, was chosen to represent that market. And to be honest, the fans saw through this corporate strategy, as it was not genuine storytelling. But fortunately for all of us, AJ Styles reclaimed the title from Mahal on SmackDown towards the end of the year, as Styles then embarked on what would be a year-long reign, delivering flashes of brilliance in key bouts. However, his program flaunted during feuds with Nakamura and Samoa Joe, matches that many believe that should have ended with Joe as champion. Then eventually, Daniel Bryan dethroned Styles on an episode of SmackDown, with Bryan's unexpected heel turn injecting a much needed freshness into the storyline. This upheaval paved the way for Kofi Mania at WrestleMania 5, with Kofi Kingston becoming the new WWE champion in a moment celebrated for its beauty and historic significance. But yet again, 2019 proved to be a creative low for WWE. Kofi Kingston's reign ended abruptly when Brock Lesnar defeated him in mere seconds on SmackDown's 20th anniversary episode. It was a creative decision that had the fans in an uproar, considering the last time Lesnar was champion, we barely saw him on TV. That being said, Lesnar's dominance continued into the pandemic era, and his reign came to an end when Drew McIntyre won the 2020 Royal Rumble, then defeated him at WrestleMania 36. And as for McIntyre's championship run, it was marked by stellar performances, and his rivalry with Orton that year is still talked about as one of the most underrated to this day, because despite not being in front of a live crowd, both men gave 100% within this feud, and eventually Orton would win the title at Hell in a Cell, only for McIntyre to regain it a few weeks later. But as for McIntyre's second title reign, it was short-lived, as he lost the title when The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, which was in a hot mess at the time, as they gave the contract initially to Otis, then The Miz got to cash it in twice for some reason. But it was clear The Miz wasn't meant to hold the title for long, as he was just a transitional champion, because The Miz's second world title reign only lasted about a week before Bobby Lashley defeated him to capture his first world title, a moment that was long overdue but also reinvigorated Lashley's career during the pandemic era. From there, fan favorite Big E's reign came next after he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on Bobby Lashley, but his reign ended in September 2021 after 110 days as champion, and it was the one and only Brock Lesnar at the Day 1 event to take it off Big E. But the title saga continued when Lashley won the championship back from Lesnar at the 2022 Royal Rumble, thanks in part to Roman Reigns costing Lesnar the title. But Brock wasn't going to let that stop him, as then Lesnar then recaptured the title at Elimination Chamber, only for Roman Reigns to defeat him at WrestleMania 38, a period that defined an era.
There's no one left. Wise man, there is no one left.
The Tribal Chief era marked a dramatic turning point, not only for Roman Reigns' career, but in terms of WWE's storytelling as a whole. After years of mixed crowd reactions as WWE's chosen babyface, Reigns returned at SummerSlam 2020 with a new persona, ruthless, calculated, and power-hungry, aligned himself with Paul Heyman and declaring himself the head of the table. This just wasn't a gimmick, this was a shift in the power dynamics across WWE. Roman's transformation into the Tribal Chief was rooted in legacy and dominance. He demanded loyalty from his family, especially Jey and Jimmy Uso, who initially resisted but eventually submitted, forming the Bloodline, a faction based on a Samoan heritage, fear, and control. And during his reign, Roman just didn't win matches, he controlled the narrative, manipulated his opponents, and crushed anyone who challenged him for his throne. Every title defense became an emotional, psychological battle, and this reign reached its historic high point at WrestleMania 38, where Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar in a title unification match labeled the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. And with that victory, Reigns became the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, embarking on a historic 734-day reign. As for the storyline, it climaxed further when the arrival and eventual betrayal of Sami Zayn, who joined the Bloodline only to turn on Reigns at the peak of the fans' sympathy. Later, Reigns faced internal final tension when Jey Uso questioned his leadership, teasing a long-awaited bloodline civil war. And to be honest, all of this was just a breath of fresh air. In an era of quick title changes and short-term bookings, the Tribal Chief stood as a throwback to the dominant champions of the past, but with a modern storytelling being told. But then came Cody and his rise to the top.
Sports, but it doesn't change a damn thing. I have to finish the story.
From WrestleMania 39 to WrestleMania 40, Cody Rhodes embarked on a journey of redemption and triumph. At WrestleMania 39, he faced Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, but fell short due to interference from the Bloodline. Undeterred, Rhodes continued to pursue his goal, culminating in a rematch at WrestleMania 40. This time, the odds were even steeper, with the match contested under Bloodline rules, allowing no disqualification and potential interference. And despite the chaotic environment and multiple interference, including appearances by The Rock, John Cena, The Undertaker, and the members of the Bloodline, Rhodes persevered. He ultimately defeated Reigns after delivering 3 consecutive crossroads, ending Reigns' historic 1,316-day title reign. This victory not only marked Rhodes as the first undisputed WWE Universal Championship win, but it also fulfilled his personal quest to finish his story, a narrative deeply rooted in his family's wrestling legacy. Put it perfectly, it summed up why we all love WWE. Then there was John Cena's most recent title win, a story that was initially built as him wanting to win his 17th title reign. It slowly evolved into something else.
Speak like that, the only way I can get a championship match is to win the Money in the Bank briefcase or survive the Elimination Chamber, or I mean, you'd have to win the Royal Rumble.
At the 2025 Royal Rumble, John Cena made a return, igniting the crowd with his appearance, and he quickly made an impact by eliminating Braun Strowman and Logan Paul. However, in a dramatic final showdown, Jey Uso managed to eliminate Cena, securing his own victory within the match. Following this, at the Elimination Chamber event, Cena entered alongside top competitors like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre, and in a grueling contest, Cena emerged victorious by making CM Punk pass out in the SDF, earning a title shot at WrestleMania 41. However, the night took a shocking turn when after the match, Cena aligned himself with The Rock and the rapper Travis Scott to launch a brutal attack on Cody Rhodes, marking Cena's first heel turn in over 2 decades. And soon after, victory occurred at WrestleMania 41 on April 20th, 2025, where he defeated Cody Rhodes to claim his record-breaking 17th world title. This historic win surpassed Ric Flair's long-standing record of 16 world championships. This victory not only solidified Cena's legacy as the most decorated world champion in WWE history, but it also marked a significant character shift as he embraced a villainous persona. Because following the match, Cena's antagonizing behavior continued during the post-show press conference, where he dismissed reporters' questions and teased further disruption within the WWE. With his plans to retire at the end of 2025, Cena's final run as champion is poised to be a defining chapter in his storied career. In conclusion, the journey through WWE's championship history is nothing short of epic. From the groundbreaking reigns of the legends like Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart in the Golden and New Generation era, through to the wild twist of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era, to the transformative moments in the Reality era with CM Punk, John Cena, and the rise of fresh faces like Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. The title has always been more than just a championship. It's a symbol of evolving storytelling, unforgettable pay-per-view moments, and the reigns measured in the legendary days that captured the fans around the world. Each chapter, from historic pay-per-views like WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble, to the pivotal matches that reshaped the landscape, has defined the spirit of WWE and continues to inspire new generations of wrestling fans. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What was your favorite title reign during any era within WWE? And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up for more wrestling content.